For this watercolour background painting, you'll need to prepare the following watery washes. Gambo Hue, which is a lovely rich yellow. Opera Rose, which is a clean bright colour. Indian Red, which to me is more of a rich kind of reddy brown. Olive Green, a colour which I use on a regular basis. Hooker's Green, which is a colour I don't often use by itself, but does have its uses. And finally, Burnt Umber. Burnt Umber is one of those colours which I use in most of my paintings. It's very useful indeed. To apply the waters and the colour, I'm going to use one brush this time round. And this is a mop brush, a size 8. It's one by Pan Art and it's a series 1182. Use whatever soft bristle brush that you've got of a reasonable size. Something like a size 6, size 8, size 10, anything like that will do. Now I need to apply this water 2 or 3 times to make sure it's soaked into that paper. Just gives you that little bit more working time as well when you're working on this painting, it really does. You want to make sure that it's not got a bright shine on the paper, because if it has, you'll find it's very difficult to control that paint. So allow it to soak into that paper a little bit as well. So when you apply your last coat of water on there, just leave it for a good half a minute or so before you go in there with the paint, okay? Now that's just about soaked in enough, I think. So that's 3 layers of water on there. As I mentioned, allow just a few seconds or so, probably half a minute sometimes, so each layer kind of soak in. Okay, now we're ready. Let's get some colours on there, shall we? And start with the lightest colour first. So we're going to go for the Gambo Hue first of all. I'm going to start to apply this. That's quite random really, all over the place. That's all I'm doing though. Stronger in some places, weaker in another. And you find because we've got the water on the paper, that will weaken that paint down as well, which is quite nice. Look how bright that is. We're going to knock it back a little bit though. We don't want it too bright. Okay, a little bit more down there now. Leaving gaps all the time. Now without washing that brush out, let's go for the olive green, okay? I'll start dropping the olive green in. Yeah. I quite like doing it this way around, with this kind of order of paint, starting with the lightest colour first and working your way along. Apart from that intense, opera rose, which it really is, isn't it? Very, very intense. So remember to keep leaving gaps. And because this paper's nice and wet, as I said, it gives you a little bit more working time. But it doesn't mean to say you've got to take your time with it, because it will start to dry fairly swiftly. A little bit more around there. And I'm going to go for the Hooker's Green. As you can see, I'm not bothering to wash that brush out. I really don't need to. I want this really blurry on the paper. And when it's intense, you can just kind of jiggle it around a little bit. A bit like that, look. Move it and kind of merge it with the other colours underneath. Something like that. And then you start to see the colour change a little bit more now. Okay, let's go down here now. Look at that, I know, that's bright. That's really bright. Hooker's Green is one of those colours where you think, what am I going to ever use that colour for, you know? But I find it's really useful to kind of brighten up a background or brighten up some foliage here and there as well. But add a colour to it, which is basically what we're doing. We're mixing on the paper, aren't we, you know? Which is very nice to do. More down there. So that's Hooker's Green on. Let's have a quick look. So what we've got left. Let's go for some Burnt Umber next, shall we? Is that one there? Okay. So Burnt Umber. Where should we start with that one? I don't know. Just drop a little bit here and there. Just can suggest changing colour in the background. Leaving those gaps, those vital gaps. Look how the water's pooling up down there now as well. Now, I don't think I'm going to go too high up there. It's still wet, but that's going to dry really quick up there now. It's starting to dry. Just lift off a little bit of paint there. A little bit of water just starting to pool up down the bottom here. Remember, my board is on that angle, as you know. A bit more Burnt Umber in this bottom corner. So it's not all the same all the way around. It's a little bit stronger around there. Change it, play with those colours. But as you know, you can't take too long with it, you really can't. Okay, so that's a little bit of burnt umber on there. I'm going to now go into the Indian red. I'm going to start to add some of this in place as well. I mean, this is quite a dull red, really. It's like a browny red, isn't it? It's not too much of this though, because it is quite strong. And all these colours, as you know, are very watery at this present time. But like the paint on your watercolour paper, these will start to dry in your mixing palettes as well. Oh, look at that, that's strong, isn't it? So move it around. So that's changed it, hasn't it? It's changed the colours all the way through. So we've got nice and light at the top, getting a little bit darker and richer as it comes down. Okay, now for the the upper rows. Now, when you add this, you may want to take some paint off. See that? So if I just take some paint off some kitchen roll, look at the state of that now. You can tell it's a sable brush. I can lift a little bit of paint off here and there while on this damp surface, even where I've just been. Look. Just take a little bit of paint off, just in places like that. Grab some upper rows, and we'll tap some of that in those areas there. Doesn't have to be too intense. You don't want it too bright. I'll probably put too much in my mixing bowl there, but I'm not too worried. Look at that. It's a lovely colour actually, isn't it? It just changes that colour once again. It really does. Just going to lift off some of that green. So it's pooling up along the top there. So just dab your brush on some kitchen roll and go back up and start lifting off some of that water as it's starting to pull down. And there you go. That's it. I've got to leave this to one side now to dry. And once it's nice and dry, we can finally remove that masking fluid. You can see I'm just rolling it up. That's all I'm doing, that. Now I do like this masking fluid. It's nice actually to work with. And it feels different to the normal latex one as well. The way it actually feels and the way it comes off the paper. And I think actually, to my eyes, it looks like it's kinder to the paper as well. Which is good. In fact, I've got a video on it. I'll pop a card to the top right in case you're interested in finding out that little bit more. Now, you know we work with quite a lot of colours there, but we've avoided making mud, and you can see with everything dry, the effect is really soft and blended, and it gives us a lovely suggestion of flowers or leaves, which will set this hedgehog off perfectly. If you're interested in learning more about applying backgrounds to wildlife paintings, head to the video to the top right and we'll explore it some more. I'll see you there.